Bonsoir, mes amis. I want to reiterate what I was talking about last night, try and really accentuate my sentiment. I still think that a bunch of fucked up yobs have completely hijacked a relatively good message. These kids are completely crazy, it's gone out of control. But yet again, I still think the media are completely screwing you over and not even talking about why this problem is the way it is, why these riots are even taking place. And basically the media wants you to think that this is the worst thing that could possibly be happening to the country, yet we're about to go into a double dip recession and things are going to get pretty damn terrible. And conveniently for the media, there's this pretty horrible story, but people seem to forget that we're about to go back to 2008 yet again. And just the way in which David Cameron in particular talked about the situation and how hyperbolic he was just makes me a little bit curious about his motives. I'm just going to play a clip of David Cameron's speech earlier on, and I want you to imagine he's talking about the forthcoming recession or he's talking about the expenses scandal. Here the fucker is.
There's already been 450 people arrested. We will make sure that court procedures and processes are speeded up, and people should expect to see many more arrests in the days to come. I am determined, the government is determined, that justice will be done and these people will see the consequences of their actions. And I have this very clear message to those people who are responsible for this wrongdoing and criminality. You will feel the full force of the law. And if you are old enough to commit these crimes, you are old enough to face the punishments. And to these people I would say this: you are not only wrecking the lives of others, you're not only wrecking your own communities, you are potentially wrecking your own life too. My office this morning has spoken to the Speaker of the House of Commons, and he has agreed that Parliament will be recalled for a day on Thursday, so I can make a statement to Parliament and we can hold a debate, and we are all able to stand together in condemnation of these crimes and also to stand together in determination to rebuild these communities. Now, if you'll excuse me, there is important work to be done.
So that was David Cameron talking about irresponsible bankers and how their actions and desires for short-term profits endanger the economy and livelihood of millions. That was also David Cameron talking about MPs who took money from the taxpayers to buy pornography and toilet seats. So yeah, David Cameron was going really hard then on the things that are going to destroy society. Oh no, wait, he was just talking about a bunch of kids robbing a few stores, and yeah, okay, like I said, these guys are arseholes for setting things on fire. That's pushing it way too far. But the media, who are pretty much, the BBC in particular, are in cahoots with the government, are trying to feed you this story that this is what's going to lead to our downfall, these riots, and not the middle-aged powers that be who are running the world into the ground. They're trying to portray to you that it's the youth that's the problem, and not the older generation. Someone told me not to make any excuses for these people, but I'm sorry, how many excuses were made for the bankers who created this two-time recession now, probably? How many excuses were made for the MPs who betrayed the electorate's trust? Many excuses, yet now there don't seem to be many excuses made for these kids for some reason. And let me ask you, how many arrests were made by bankers for the financial crisis? How many arrests were made for the MP's expenses scandal? Probably about 15 in total, yet there were about 400 arrests yesterday for looting shops. I mean, I'm sorry, but more people are going to suffer because of bankers fucking up the economy and people's livelihoods and their jobs, and more people are going to suffer by MPs destroying democracy than people are going to suffer from a few shops and buildings being burnt down. And I'm not excusing the violence, but let's be honest, the violence is a product of a system that doesn't give a shit about these people. They have no self-worth, so what do they care if they get arrested? As far as they're concerned, they haven't got a future, so why the fuck shouldn't they loot these shops, you know? Someone said to me, oh, why don't they get an education and whatever, and I say, sure, well, if they get an education, what's the guarantee there's going to be a job waiting for them anyway, you know, really? I'm not at all surprised young people in the inner city urban areas are pissed off right now, and there's a class war ensuing as well. The kind of rhetoric used by people is pretty disgraceful as far as I'm concerned. People referring to these rioters as feral rats and asking questions like, well, where are the parents? Well, I'll tell you where the parents are. The parents are working 2 jobs, trying to pay extortionate rent just so they can live half an hour away from their kids' school. You know, they're paying inflated rent rates so that people can afford to pay in these the private sector and all of these inflated jobs and all these inflated wages. The parents are fucking working their asses off trying to put food on the freaking kids' tables. They can't afford to pay for a babysitter, and it's just this ignorance from the middle class. And I'm sorry, I'm a freaking middle class kid. You know, I've been to some very nice schools, but I can see just how fucking unbelievably disproportionate the kind of wealth and the opportunities are in this country. I live just on the edge of an affluent area in London next to a less affluent area, and I know people from both sides, and as far as I'm concerned, the people in the affluent area just don't have a freaking clue about the other side, and they don't care either. And it's just this bullshit idea that people are being fed that it's the working class youth that are the problem, when really it's this kind of middle-aged fucking hypocrite hippies who basically, you know, exploited all the resources of the earth, made all their money, and now they're sitting in their freaking ivory tower. They used to commit violence back in the 60s, you know, to suit their gains, and now it's our turn. They're not having any of it because it's a cycle that goes throughout the generations. The elder generation just wants to keep the young down, and they're fucking doing it now. They're trying to give you this idea that the youth are the problem, and they're not the problem. It's the fucking bankers and the politicians that are going to send our life, the way we know it, down to shit. And there's a freaking double dip recession coming our way, and you wouldn't know about it because people want you to be scared of the youth and not the frickin' people that are creating all the problems. And I'm sorry, the violence has gone way too far, but if you don't understand where it's coming from, then you're in frickin' denial. So yeah, keep it all peaceful and fuck the police. No, I'm joking, I love the police, especially when they kill innocent Brazilians or murder innocent bystanders at G8 conventions, when they kettle young people for exercising their democratic rights, when they sell information to the media, when they stop and search young people, me frickin' included. I got stopped and searched last Friday for some frickin' reason. It's just this kind of behaviour the police get away with. They break the law, they're fine. The politicians break the law, fine. The bankers break the law, whatever. But as soon as a few young people, unsatisfied with their situation, want to exercise a bit of civil disobedience, then we've got a freaking problem. It's one rule for some, one rule for others. And that's just the freaking way it is. Oh yeah.
That's just the way it is.